Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today from Cosmicverse titled, Why Are Men Not Approaching Us Anymore? Lots of modern women are asking the question, guys. The attention is drying up, the validation is drying up, and they're not too happy about it. Now, today's video was suggested to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
Let me convince you to take me on a date. I wear minimal makeup and I'm all natural. I can cook and clean. I play video games topless. And I'm very submissive. Yes or no?
So you supposed to be the one that approached the female, and then you gotta pay for her food for an opportunity to continue to pay for her food while she's still talking to other. These intrusive thoughts, man. I'm trying.
This is crazy, guys. It is funny to me how modern women think that a man buying her a dinner is somehow an opportunity to impress her, and when men downright say that they aren't interested in paying over $100 to constantly feed her for every date, she's still somehow magically the victim.
I'm fucking trying, bro, but what?
Makes no sense.
Is it just me, or has the rate at which guys approach girls plummeted? Men don't approach women any longer. What's tea? What's going on? Did I miss something? But it's weird. Like, I saw the cutest guy today at a dispensary, and his voice was deep, like tilted my waist, and like, you know, not even a glance, not even like a side eye, nothing. That hurt my feelings.
She honestly thought that tilting her body at a slight angle and messing with her hair would somehow get his attention, to the point that he would stop with his purchase at a dispensary and then go and talk to her. And when her incredibly lazy plan didn't work, she found herself shocked that it didn't.
All this sounds like to me is that men are granting women their wish of not being approached or bothered by men any longer. And this is what I mean when I say women have big egos. She saw a man she was interested in, but instead of her approaching him, she expected the guy to read her mind and come up to approach her instead. The idea that a man should automatically know when he's being invited to approach reflects the inflated expectations that some women carry today.
Men are expected to do the heavy lifting in literally everything when it comes to dating, and they're also expected to evolve to the point of being able to effortlessly practice telepathy, apparently. It's crazy how difficult these women have actually made everything.
They want all the control without any of the effort. What's stopping her from walking up and starting a conversation? Fear of rejection? If so, that's something men have dealt with for ages, yet they're still expected to do all the legwork. The truth is, if women want genuine connections and opportunities to meet the men they're interested in, they need to step off the pedestal and meet men halfway.
The mere idea of a modern woman getting off the pedestal and meeting men halfway is enough motivation for a woman to record herself in an angry rant, pass judgment on men, and make herself look even less appealing than she was previously. She would rather sabotage herself in the dumbest way possible than be reasonable.
One of my favorite ways to assert my dominance on the trail as a female hiker is when I see a guy pass me, I ask him, "Oh, was that your wife that just passed me like a mile ago?" Obviously making the assumption that there was another woman that passed them. And every single time they get so defensive and they're like, "What? No." Micro-feminism, ladies.
So, basically, micro-harassment.
Can we talk about how good men will sometimes not approach a woman that he's interested in simply because he's trying to be respectful, and he definitely does not want to be seen as a creep?
Modern women have demanded all of the respect from men and straight up told them to never approach unless they meet a very specific criteria that only applies to a small percentage of men. And then they get angry when they get their wish. There is no pleasing some of these modern women men.
But the problem with this is that most single women want the man to find her and pursue her, which I think is generally okay because women are not socially practiced in the arts of men. But what's the solution? Because we can't all just sit back and complain that there's no good men because they're not the ones that are approaching.
It's not that there aren't any good men. Typically, when these women scream that no man is approaching them, they're referring to a specific type of man they want.
It's rather interesting how women expect all men to be the pinnacle of all things masculinity, They want the tall man with the muscular physique, the massive bank account, the masculine and confident demeanor that's still willing to submit to her whims and whatever she tells you to do. The rest of the men are either ignored or suspected of literal crimes.
A man they find attractive or who fits their idealized standards. The reality is, they're often aiming for men who are out of their league, men who simply don't want them. And the reason women do this is because they overvalue themselves in the dating market, thinking they can get whoever they want. But most of the time, this mindset leads to disappointment when they fail to attract the type of guy they truly desire.
It's not only that, but it also ruins her chances for contentment. We hear countless stories of divorced women who used to compare their ex-husbands to ex-boyfriends, former flings, past situationships, and all it does is grow their resentment and make them bitter and unlikable.
This behavior stems from an inflated sense of self-worth, which is often fed by social media, attention from men who lack self-respect boosting their ego, and the idea that they're entitled to the best of the best. These women also struggle with the idea of self-reflection. Instead of evaluating what they bring to a relationship or why their approach isn't working, they blame men or claim there are no good men left.
The funny part is that even if a modern woman were to find her idealized version of a quote-unquote good man, she would still find an excuse to complain, get bored, and then make the man miserable and leave him.
This is the real reason why these guys are not approaching y'all. The big reason why, or a big reason why these men are not approaching you is because you are not approachable, sis. You got RBF syndrome, okay, rest in bitch face. The whole time when men approach you, you're like thinking all these negative thoughts about them, and they feel that energetically because energy is everything, and I'm a firm believer in that. And you're walking around with the stinkest face. Sis, I wouldn't want to approach you either.
Women don't hate men. And it's interesting because that's literally what's been showing up all over my content.
Yeah. You've got to love the extreme language women like this use. Hate is an extremely strong and somewhat harsh word. Most men don't hate women, but that doesn't mean that they aren't fed up with the crap that they've been subjected to by the actions of these women who are still finding an excuse to condemn us even when they're trying to make so-called clarifications.
This misunderstanding of like, women are the one who pushed us away. No, it's not that they hate you. It's that they're just trying to protect themselves, and their form of protective mechanism is, I'm going to do the best I can to try to protect myself by being independent, by doing these things. And like we are to some degree being brainwashed to believe that being independent is more empowering and that not needing a man is empowering. And then on the men's side of like, you have to be overly masculine, and there has to be that balance.
The rules and regulations that modern women set for the majority of average men are so strict that even accidentally breaking them is grounds for public shaming, assault, or even police intervention. And yet we're somehow to blame for all of this, to the point where modern women feel the need to protect themselves from us.
Maybe not all women hate men, but a good number of them do. And there's plenty of evidence that shows it. From online movements and viral hashtags like men are trash to casual conversations and media portrayals, it's clear that a significant portion of women harbor resentment or even disdain for men. These sentiments often go beyond constructive criticism, turning into broad generalizations that paint men as inherently bad, oppressive, or useless.
It's rather interesting how the side that's spewing all of this venom are the same ones who say that women are loving and nurturing. It really is loving and nurturing to see a woman go on TikTok and get celebrated for wanting to end the lives of all men.
And it's true, women are the ones that pushed men away. Over time, the constant narrative that men are the problem in every scenario has worn down their desire to engage. Men have been told they're not good enough, not emotional enough, or not progressive enough. At the same time, any attempt to voice their struggles or defend themselves is often met with accusations of being defensive or dismissive.
In the eyes of a modern woman, it doesn't matter what he does, he's always doing it wrong. If he doesn't stick up for himself, then he's a coward. If he does, then he's toxic. If he approaches women, then he's creepy. If he doesn't, then he's insecure. Even when they walk away to live quietly, she still sees him as selfish and uncaring.
This creates a lose-lose situation where men feel silenced, undervalued, and unwanted.
Ladies, the men have spoken. 400 of them to be exact. And they love it when you approach. Not only do they love it when you approach, but they see you as so much more confident and attractive when you do. You are way more likely to meet a guy that you're into if you're willing to make the first move. Look, the Me Too movement was necessary and useful.
I don't understand. The Me Too movement was necessary and useful. How was it? All it did was alienate men into staying away from women, lest he ends up getting hit with a false claim, a job loss, or a face full of pepper spray. If that was your goal, madam, then I guess mission accomplished.
But it also left a huge amount of men terrified of being seen as predators. If you were a sensible man, you'd agree. Better safe than sorry. So now it's up to us women to make it safe for men to shoot their shot. You don't have to be aggressive about it. Just walk up to him, smile, say hi, and let him take it from there. So what are you waiting for?
What is your best advice to single girls in New York City? Go get your free dinners. Go get your free dinners. Go have fun. Go date around.
That is the worst piece of advice that she could have given. She's promoting using men as commodities to go out, get intoxicated, endlessly ride the carousel, and to sacrifice a lifelong bond with a single man for a decade's worth of meaningless pleasure and terrible decisions.
When I was single in New York back in the day, I decided one day that I was just going to date and I was going to find out what I wanted through dating. I don't think you can say what you want.
The thing is, ladies, is that you can't be saying this in one breath and then in the next breath be complaining that men are not taking you out to nice fancy dinners on the first date anymore. Because men know that you're doing this. They would rather have a very casual, easy to end kind of date like a coffee date or a walk.
The idea of a coffee date or a walk on a nice day is seen as an insult to a modern woman because it's quote-unquote low effort, when that's exactly the point, mind you. There's nothing wrong with an easy date that can be ended early if one side doesn't like the other.
Men don't have a problem with you figuring out what you want and going on multiple dates. That's fine. The problem is when you expect him to invest a whole lot of resources and time and effort while you are not sure about him at all. Or still trying to figure it out, which again is okay. And he's totally okay with that. He just doesn't want your expectations to be way up here when what you're willing to give is way down here.
Wow, you heard that. When she was back in New York, she was just going on dates with multiple men.
Did anyone else notice the tone of her voice when she talked about being back in the day? A lot of us are nostalgic in one way or another, but she wishes she was still young and attractive to go out and get the same amount of attention from random dudes that she doesn't get today.
And guess what? She's still single. This is the kind of behavior that older women are encouraging younger women to follow, and it's setting them up for failure. By giving advice to date around and have fun, they're essentially promoting a lifestyle that revolves around short-term gratification with no thought of long-term consequences. Let's be real. When women talk about having fun, it often translates to juggling multiple partners and indulging in fleeting pleasures without any real commitment or emotional investment.
Quote-unquote having fun also includes drinking way too much, spending money on trips she can't afford, and doom scrolling through social media when her best friends would rather spend an evening with their husbands and kids instead of getting an infection at some random club.
She even mentioned, go and have your free dinners, which ties directly into the concept of having a roster. For many women, this roster isn't about building meaningful connections. It's about having a lineup of men they can rotate through for validation, attention, or financial benefits like free meals. It's transactional, not relational, and it's a game that leaves everyone involved feeling used and dissatisfied in the long run.
The funniest thing is that after these women are done having their fun and the men aren't giving them attention anymore, she blames those very same men for the mess that she created herself.
When someone says, I don't need anyone, I can handle everything on my own. So often what that really means is when I did need someone, no one was there. And so now it feels safer to not need anyone at all than to need someone and be let down again. We all need human connection and support. Those of us that say we don't often need it the most.
So I need you guys to tell me why I can't meet somebody in the gym. There's so many comments of people are like, that's not what the gym's for. Why? Why is it not? Why?
The gym is for working out, getting healthier, and self-improvement. It was never meant to be a singles mixer event for desperate women. And even now, with gym shaming being as absurdly prevalent as it is today, men are forced to stare at the floor in between sets just to be safe, and modern women are to thank for that one.
Why can't I meet somebody in a healthy environment? Do I have to go to a bar? Does it have to be at a restaurant? Does it have to be out? Do I have to go clubbing? Because I ain't doing that. So I want to be in an annoying gym relationship. I want to be so in love and cutesy and my man comes up and grabs my butt after a squat. Like, I want that. I want my man to come up and kiss me while I'm at the gym. Like, oh, do you mind? Like, why? Why can't I have that?
I lost count at how many times this woman started a sentence with the phrase, I want. She has no idea that the more she uses the phrase, I want, the less people are going to find her desirable. Not like it matters. She wants the storybook relationship anyway, not a realistic one.
And why would I not meet someone at the gym when that is my goal? Is to be the annoying gym couple that is like super cute. Everyone's like, oh my God, they're so cute. Don't hate on my dream, you guys.
I will agree that the gym would be a great place to meet someone, especially since you already share a common interest in fitness and health. But unfortunately, many women have ruined that opportunity for many men and women.
This woman doesn't even view men as people. Every single thing that she mentioned was either about how that a man is supposed to make her feel a particular way or how people perceived her. Nothing about if the man cares about her or anything of real substance.
Even this woman here is trying to find a good man at the gym. But the problem is that men aren't even entertaining that idea anymore. The truth is, many men are no longer willing to approach women in the gym because they've faced too many negative experiences. Men know that making a move could lead to rejection, awkwardness, or even being accused of harassment, so they simply don't bother.
Modern women have turned the gym into a minefield that's almost impossible to traverse. Men have to take extra precautions at the gym because one slip up and they could lose their membership, or even worse. Working out is hard enough without having to deal with that crap, to be honest.
It's not that they're not interested. It's just that the risk of misjudging the situation and facing backlash has become too great. And women often dress a certain way to attract attention, but then get offended when approached by a man. I mean, can you blame him for trying?
What's the craziest thing you got the ick for?
I don't like to see happiness sometimes. I don't know. I just saw a man like smiling, like, you know, after a party when you're popping balloons, and like he was popping the balloon and he was like playing with it before he popped it. And I looked over and I was just like,
This woman is turned off by a man having harmless, clean fun. Sometimes it just seems like modern women are just jealous that men are capable of having fun on their own, and it's come to the point where women like this are angry that men are out there enjoying life while she's stewing in her own misery and resentment.
all the sexual tension leaving the room.
So this is why you're single, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you want to know why men don't approach you in real life, I'm going to share exactly why that is. If you don't know me, I'm a professional dating coach. If you need more tips on your love life, hit the follow button.
You can't help but wonder how a dating coach becomes a dating coach. It wouldn't be, surprise me at all if these women found some seedy website, paid way too much money, and had a certificate sent to them in the mail or something.
The first reason that you're not getting approached is because you got RBF. Look happy. Smile. Enjoy where you are and what you're doing, and show it on your face. Because if you look like you have RBF, you're not going to be approachable. A guy's going to be freaked out by you. The second reason is because you're wearing headphones everywhere you go. If you got headphones on, people are going to assume that you're busy, and men are not going to come up and try to talk to you.
It's kind of funny to watch this woman tell other women to smile more, even though she's clearly faking her own smiles. She doesn't even believe what she's trying to peddle to her own fellow single women.
Try wearing no headphones when you go on walks, or, maybe half of the walk you don't wear headphones, or when you're at the grocery store don't wear headphones. Wherever you can choose to not wear headphones, if you have a potential to maybe meet somebody, do that, because that's going to increase your chances of getting approached by somebody. The third reason is because you're not making eye contact with people. If men pass you by, look at them, make eye contact, and smile.
those are two indicators that you are friendly and open.
This is what passes as women approaching men. She makes 2 seconds worth of eye contact, smiles, and then does absolutely nothing afterwards. Even when she's putting in the so-called quote-unquote work, it's still next to nothing at all.
And they will feel more comfortable coming and talking to you if they see those signals. If you look away or you ignore them every time you pass them, they're definitely not going to want to come talk to you because you don't look approachable.
This is actually accurate. If a woman's demeanor is off, men simply aren't going to approach her. The energy she gives off plays a huge role in whether or not a man feels comfortable making a move. Many women, unfortunately, walk outside with a wall up, like they're gearing up for a fight.
A lot of these modern women are straight up miserable. They work all of the time, they aren't taken seriously by men, and they complain endlessly. It's rare for them to actually smile and look friendly when you're that bitter and bored.
That defensive energy, that I don't want to be bothered attitude, is a huge turn-off. Men can sense it from a mile away. When a woman walks with her shoulders tense, head down, and a scowl on her face, it's clear that she's not open to interaction, even if she's looking for someone to connect with. That kind of energy essentially creates a barrier. It's like she's saying, "Don't approach me," even if that's not her intention.
Even if that isn't her intention, men have been told repeatedly to never approach under any circumstances, and even if she isn't one of those people, she's caught in the crossfire because men have had too much to lose if they approach the wrong woman at the wrong time.
It's hard for men to feel invited into a space where they're being met with closed-off body language or a sharp, unfriendly vibe. And let's face it, most men are hesitant to approach a woman who's giving off those aggressive or defensive signals because they don't want to risk rejection or make the woman feel uncomfortable.
Modern women say that being labeled creepy is no big deal, but it's easy for her to say that because she doesn't have to feel the after effects of that label. So a lot of men just stay away because it's much safer to be alone than to risk that kind of harsh treatment.
I have finally figured out why I dislike all the men that I've ever been on dates with. I finally fucking put my finger on it. You want to know what it is? None of them make me feel like a fucking girl. I feel like I'm these fucking men's babysitter. I can't tell you the amount of times I've been to dinner with them and I have to order for the two of us. Nothing gives me the ick more than a man who's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "All right, got it, babe, don't worry." At the end of the dinner, the waiter doesn't know who the fuck to hand the check to because clearly I'm the man of the house. I've gone out with men who I feel like I need to do the sidewalk rule and walk closer to the road to make sure they're safe and hold their hand while we cross and look both ways.
It's pretty difficult to believe anything she's saying in regards to her dates actually happening. If she was truly that turned off on the date to the point of being angry, she would have never stayed for the entire thing. This just reeks of complete fabrication, to be honest.
I went out with a guy once, and he fucking couldn't find parking, and I get that you're not in control of that, but problem solved, babe. Figure it out. We've been doing laps for 20 minutes now. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I literally had to sit there and be like, should we valet? Should we valet? Should we valet? And he was like, yeah, we can do that. And it's like, why was that not your idea? Do you even know where the fuck we're going? How the fuck am I supposed to sit here and be a princess and rub the back of your head if I'm pulling up Google Maps? You know what? I will take some of the blame. Some of it was my problem. Some of it was my abandonment issues coming out where I feel like I had to do the most to keep these men. Just make sure they're taken care of and like, I'm going to be like such a good like date. Like no, fuck off.
Even when she makes a vain attempt to try and take some responsibility for her attitude, she still has to bring up something like abandonment issues and then goes back to immediately blaming the men for her misery.
No, I'm going to sit there and you're gonna open the door for me and you're gonna do all these things for me because I'm the fucking woman. I can't tell you how good it is to talk to a man who makes me feel like a little girl. Like I feel like a girl. I feel like I can be a girl. I feel like I can just sit and look pretty. I feel taken care of. I feel protected. How important it is for me to date a man who allows me to be in my feminine. I think being an Aries, I'm just a natural leader. I naturally want to take charge. Like if something's not getting done, I'm like, we gotta figure it out, guys.
So it's no longer her abandonment issues, it's now her astrological sign that makes her insufferable. It's amazing how everything is just beyond her control, and yet she still acts unlikable and wants to control everything.
So when I have a guy who I know can just figure it out and I can trust, that is major for me. If I can shut off my brain for 1 fucking second and just trust somebody to make sure that things are handled and taken care of, I will suck your so good. Nothing turns me on more than that. If you can get us from point A to point B, and I don't have to lift a fucking finger, what? Like, I am wet. I want a guy who's in touch with his feminine side and can turn it on when he needs to.
This woman has gone from condemning men to selfish behavior to talking about lewd acts of bedroom fun for a man who takes charge. She has not given off any form of quality for a man to appreciate, and yet she still thinks that men are the problem.
And be sensitive when he needs to, but he cannot be like that all the time. Not with me around. I will eat you alive. All these men want to be the man. But when it comes to being the man, why am I the man? Why are you not being the man? The man is not manning. That's so crazy, but we're on the up and up, girlies.
This is exactly what I mean when I say some women are stuck in a cycle of dating the same types of guys. She mentioned dating all those men who never made her feel like a girl and repeating that same pattern time and time again.
Even though she agreed to the date, it's still the man's fault for not making her feel feminine. It's come to the point where men need to be 3 times as masculine as a woman for a mere shot for her to actually be quiet.
The real question is, why didn't she change her type? Why didn't she break out of that cycle and choose a different path? It's because many women today are stuck in this endless loop of going after the same type of man who either isn't ready to give them what they want or isn't the right fit for them emotionally. It's clear that many women are drawn to the same patterns because they're either unconsciously attracted to those familiar traits or they haven't taken the time to reflect on what they really need in a partner.
It's crazy how these women are living the definition of insanity, and at no point are they willing to take a second to understand why the formula isn't working.
I understand that many women want to feel special, to feel cherished and valued, and that's natural. But expecting a man to give you wifey treatment on the first date is just crazy. It's unrealistic and sets the stage for disappointment. This woman in particular was expecting that level of commitment, attention, and care right off the bat, without having invested the time or emotional connection needed to build that kind of relationship.
Modern women expect the world from a man within the first 20 minutes of meeting, and then she gets angry and unreasonable the very second that he falters on the most minor of things. They are incapable of showing any form of appreciation to a man. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.